This time we're taking a look at the Toy Biz Marvel Legends Series 12, the Apocalypse series, Sasquatch. As you can see, we have a little price sticker or something where it ripped off on mine, but you can see the power chart and the little write-up for Sasquatch and the other figures in the wave, as well as the variants, the unmasked Wolverine, the bald-headed Bishop, the red-suited Iron Fist. They don't have two variants, two repainted variants. You have the purple suit X3 and the white version of Sasquatch. This is a very tall figure, probably one of the tallest Build-A-Figure figures from Toy Biz. As you can see here, let's grab Cap for comparison. See how tall Cap here is, the Series 1, and he comes up to about his midsection right there. Now this sculpt is pretty good. I love all the sculpted in fur details here, and it's all over everywhere, on the back, on the shoulder joints here. I love the details on the fingernails, the palms, on the feet there. Very nicely sculpted. The head too, as well. You can see the details on the hair, but that is actually the one drawback to the figure as well, is that they've sculpted his head here, the hair on his head, to rest like that on the figure. While that does, make it look pretty smooth and together as one piece, when you put it into a, what would be a regular neutral looking forward position, his hair is just kind of like floating up there. I do like the open mouth sculpt on this. The body has been used for the Man-Thing figure as well. Slightly re-sculpted. Now the paint is very nice. It's pretty vibrant orange, but not too out there. It's got this nice kind of, I don't know if it's a wash or stuff, but it does, give, allow you to pick out the sculpting details of the hair. As I mentioned before, there is a variant version of this character in white, and that is a story point, which I will come to later. Of course, the head goes up and down, left and right. Pretty good movement there. He has extra joints on the shoulders that allow him to actually move back, and they kind of, by this point, they discovered how to fill in the extra or the gaps left by the shoulder joints. So he also has arms that go all the way around at the shoulder. They rotate at the bicep. There's double elbow joint. They rotate at the wrist. The wrist bends very well both ways. All the fingers are individually articulated. He's got a good ab crunch joint, which is very smooth going down and very clicky going back up. The leg joints can go forward and back and out to the side. Rotate at the thigh there. He's got this sort of dangle of hair both in the back and the front. It is soft, and so it does kind of get out of the way, but still causes a little bit of trouble with the legs. He's got double knee joints, and much like the forearms, the shins swivel, and it's hidden by the tufts of fur there. His feet don't bend very far, but they do go forward and back. They have a pretty good ankle pivot there, and toe joint. Sasquatch is Dr. Walter Langowski. He first appears in Uncanny X-Men number 120 in 1979, but then goes on to be a member of Alpha Flight in its own series. So he was born in Vancouver, British Columbia, a Canadian, and he becomes a professor of physics and biophysics at McGill University. But he also is a pretty good athlete and becomes a star football player, both in Canadian League and in the NFL, actually playing for the Green Bay Packers, I think it was. After his football career, he starts in on gamma research. So you can tell it's not headed to a good place with whenever someone starts researching gamma radiation. The inevitable happens, and there's an accident, and he's exposed to gamma radiation, and he becomes this orange-furred creature. And he calls himself Sasquatch after the legendary bipedal creature that's supposed to wander around the North American forests. He finds out later he's not actually hasn't been formed by the gamma radiation, but the gamma radiation opened up a hole to this other universe dimension where the spirits of one of the northern tribes had imprisoned these beings called the Great Beasts, and one of them is called Tanarak, and Tanarak comes through this hole and possesses Walter Langowski and turns his body into a copy of his own. However, Walter is able to retain control initially, but he begins to lose that control to the Great Beast, Tanarak. He starts a relationship with the confused member of Alpha Flight and sister of North Star called Aurora. Tanarak's control over him grows greater and greater, and eventually he can't transform back into human form again, and is then completely possessed by Tanarak, and is actually killed by another member of Snowbird. And so the the whole team of Alpha Flight decides that they're going to go into the realm of the Great Beast to find Walter's soul. They do find it, and they put it into the exoskeleton, robotic exoskeleton of a relatively new member at the time of the team called Box. And so for a while, Walter inhabits the robot Box. Snowbird then dies, and Walter is able to transfer his consciousness into the deceased body of Snowbird, and is then able to turn that body into a copy of the original Sasquatch body, however, just white. And so that's where the variant version of this figure comes in. During that time, he is able to transform back into a female form, like Snowbird was able to, and he calls himself Wanda, which is kind of, it gets into a little bit of weird territory for me. But the spirit of Snowbird from beyond is able to turn that body into a copy of Walter's originally body, and his fur now reverts back to its orange color. So recently the team, with the exception of North Star and Aurora, had all perished, but they have been resurrected through the chaos of the aptly named crossover Chaos War, where many dead actually return to a living state, and they were one of the lucky few to actually make it through that and come out surviving that resurrection. They are now back, and they're just about to start a brand new series. Hopefully it'll be good and get chosen to stick around in some form or other. One more thing, in case you're wondering, in the Marvel Universe, yes, there are true Sasquatches running around. That'll do it for Sasquatch, so stay tuned for some more Marvel Legends reviews, and until then, I'll see you.